Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stockminer, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And we had, quite a run today in the markets. Very good trading for intraday traders. Not much from a swing standpoint. A lot of things ending up, everything was up for the day. NASDAQ for sure showing lots of strength. So from a swing trading standpoint, you haven't been making a whole lot the last few days, but from an intraday standpoint, it hasn't been bad trading. Certainly had some good opportunities to get in and make some money these last few days, which has been a nice change of pace. Usually it's the stocks that have been moving, but now the indices have at least been doing something intraday. And another good run today, one in one direction, which was mostly up. We had a start kind of lower and then a quick run up as the bulls see more buying opportunities down here. And they are really making quick work of these drops in the market. Dow all the way back up to this overhead resistance area of 11,150. That is the area to be watching. I'm still calling 11,160 for long plays in the Dow. And I really want to see it get back down here for more serious short plays for the Dow as well, below 10,950. I don't know when that'll happen, and that number may change coming into next week. But for us going into Friday, this is my number to really be watching for a more swing trading, shorting opportunity down here. Not sure we'll make that tomorrow, but the way things have been going, there's a better chance we're going to break up and over this 11,150 area and head higher coming into the end of the week. Here it is. Here's that little high base we were watching. Notice how we had the big drop. 1, 2, 3 days to get back to break even. Drop today. Bulls weren't having anything of it. Bringing it right back up. So this is holding very nicely up here for the Bulls. Still putting in that high basing type of formation, which is ultimately bullish, as we've seen the entire way up. So we're watching for breaks over there for our entries. NASDAQ on a 60. Look at it. Finally get up and over the 2040 area. I mentioned above 2043 for a long. Not sure I would have taken that trade at the very end of the day. But if you are in and if you are holding, I would be watching very closely to see what happens overnight. If we can pull back, let's say we pull back overnight, as long as we hold 2040, I think you're in good shape with that play. Otherwise, watch that for any further highs coming into tomorrow's trading. NASDAQ on a daily, look at this, finally poking its head back above that little line again. We started way down here, and they really want to hold this line. So, as I said, it's going to give way. It's not going to be able to hold this blue line for long, but it could go as long as I don't know, maybe a week before we see it finally fail. However, this is the line to obviously be watching as we proceed further. We had a close above it yesterday, way down below it today, but the bulls so strong today, really pulling things up. From a weekly standpoint, up into that 2040 to 2050 area and holding. Let's see where we close tomorrow. See if we can close below the 2050. But even so, up in this area, unless we see a pretty big pullback tomorrow, this is very bullish on the weekly. Still no reason to think that we can't continue the climb higher. SPX on a 60-minute also pulling itself way back up again. Not as strong as the NASDAQ. You can see this thing is now kind of in a symmetrical triangle here. You have to be very cautious with your trading in or around this area. I'm still waiting for breaks up above 1215 before I look for a more serious long play in the SPX. But still a nice run down here where we were at 1190-ish or so. Yep, today on the markets, and straight up most all of the day. From a daily standpoint, same thing here, holding nicely to this 20. Look at how the 20-day is just acting as beautiful support down here. This was definitely an area you want to be watching. Every time the SPX starts to drop, I'd be making sure I know exactly where this 20-day moving average is at. Up and over 1215, looking to see where we go as we move higher. No reason to think we'll ever make this blue line again, though. It's a little bit too steep at this point. And from a weekly standpoint, rushing right up towards that 1225. 16, 17 points is an awful lot to see tomorrow. Don't know if we'll make it there tomorrow. Have to be some really good earnings. As I said, earnings is what's going to drive it up to that point this week. I don't know if we're going to get that. So, still my overhead target. Maybe we do, maybe it doesn't really make a difference. Anything over 12.15, still playable up to that 12.25-ish area. You'll want to be careful as we approach that area. VIX on a daily. This was odd. Now the market's coming back to finish positive. And once again, the VIX finishing positive. Look at the big spike up, only to drop all day long, coming right back down to this area. The VIX just there's no fear in the markets, and anytime somebody tries to inflict fear on the markets, it's like completely resistant to what's happening from a fear standpoint. So the VIX continuing to stay low, bouncing off this lower support line here. No reason to think there's really no reason to be anything but continuing to be neutral to bullish in this area on the markets because the VIX hasn't shown us any sign of fear from investors at this point. Apple on a 60-minute, look at it climb, continue to climb. Apple on a tear, 266.50 by the end of the day. So for those of you that might have gotten in over the high here at 260, great play. This was a very good long play in Apple. I would have expected to see maybe a consolidation day here, but once it hit this blue line, that's exactly where it found its support. Very nicely up and over this area. Now, how long will it last? Anyone's guess. This is uncharted territory. Apple could see 500. We don't know. I know it seems a little bit steep. But Apple could see 500. You don't know where it's going to go at this point. And I don't think anybody knows where to stop. So up and over 260 was a great trade to the long side today. Make an extra $6 in Apple. From a weekly standpoint, huge white candle with those earnings coming out, pushing it way up. $19 for the week. For those of you that have been in Apple, got some friends that are in Apple, and they are absolutely loving it. They were in way back here on this call above 220. So they have been absolutely loving it since then, making lots of good profits in Apple. ACC on a 60-minute also up today, exactly 1%, but hitting overhead resistance. On a daily, that's just what we're waiting for too, is a break one way or the other. So now maybe we see something tomorrow. We might have to hold on to this another week to see if we get any kind of a break one way or the other. But we're right back up to this overhead resistance. Time to be a little cautious in ACC. We might see a break tomorrow, but I'm not sure I'd be holding over the weekend. APEI on a 60-minute also showing us a little bit of strength here, popping up and over some of this area. We've been watching this closely. Still haven't really got the break I'm looking for. Looking for something over 46 or something over 46.10. We did have a break up to 46.40 today, only to come all the way back down. So where this thing ultimately ends up is anyone's guess. Probably going to take this off next week. Getting tired of watching it move sideways. I still really like it to the high side as long as it'll get up and over 46 and stay there. Give it another day and see where it goes. But that might be, if it can get up tomorrow and stay up tomorrow, it might be worth holding over the weekend. FAS on a 60-minute, and you can see it moving up here as well. Coming right back into the 114 overhead resistance area. Here, if we look at a daily, still lots of chop. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you with this one, guys, except you got to continue to stay cautious. I still see no real play here. Maybe over 115, maybe over 120. Definitely below 100, but otherwise for me, this is just not a play for me. It's not setting up in any kind of decent way at all from a trading standpoint, really. FAS FAZ doing the same thing. All of these caught in a symmetrical triangle, waiting for a more major break to give us some direction to this. But you can see it just kind of floundering around down here. Any further push to the downside, it's this blue line I'm watching for our support, but you're really playing with fire. It's not setting up well at all. So stay away from FAS and FAZ for the time being unless you're going to intraday trade it. Then if you know what you're doing, you can take a couple trades here and there. Otherwise, I would just probably sit on my hands and start looking for other plays. The indices have been a pretty decent play lately, and certainly some individual stocks outside of FAS and FAZ have given great opportunities, Apple's being one of them. So stick to some of the other ones and stay away from these for the time being until they set up nicer. And that'll do it for today's video, and I'll be back with you guys again tomorrow for the week wrap-up. Talk to you then. Bye.